God finds another boy. As Saul lay there in his tent that night, thinking about all that Samuel had told him, he began to wonder what the prophet could have meant when he said that the kingdom would be taken from him and given to a neighbor of his, someone who was better than he. A neighbor? He thought. Which neighbor? His mind ran over all the people he knew. The man who ran the farm next to his, or one of the abler men in his army, or Jonathan. Yes, what about Jonathan? Was he going to be punished because of his father's sins? Try as he would, Saul could find no answer to his question. If God was looking for another king, he hadn't given a hint as to who it might be. That is not to Saul, but he had to Samuel. Go to the home of Jesse of Bethlehem, God had said to him, for I have found a king among his sons. When Samuel arrived at Jesse's home, he soon discovered that he had a bigger problem than he had expected. For Jesse had many sons, all of them tall, strong, handsome, young fellows. How was he to tell which one God had in mind to be the next king of Israel? Of course, Samuel didn't tell anybody why he had come. That wouldn't have been wise. Instead, he said he had come to offer a sacrifice, and everybody in town believed that was the only reason he was there. After the sacrifice, Samuel asked Jesse to introduce his son to him, and he was very happy to do so. First was Eliab, the eldest. So tall and good-looking was he that Samuel felt sure this was the lad he was to anoint. But as he was reaching in his pocket for his vessel of oil, God told him not to look at the young man's face or height, because I have refused him. For the Lord sees not a man sees, for man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. Just why God refused to take Eliab, the Bible does not say. There must have been some weakness in his character that made him unfit to be a king. His father and mother did not know of it, nor his brothers, nor his friends, but God knew, and that was enough. Then Jesse called his second son, Abinadab. But as Samuel greeted him warmly, God whispered that he hasn't chosen this lad either. Next came Sama, and the same thing happened again. Jesse then brought his fourth son, his fifth, his sixth, and his seventh. But as the boys were introduced, God kept saying to Samuel, not this one, not this one, not this one. By this time, Samuel was really puzzled. God had refused all seven of Jesse's sons, and so far as he could see, there were no more. What could be the matter? Had he made a mistake? Should he look them all over again? Then he got a bright idea. Jesse, he said, are these all your sons? Well, no, said Jesse. There is still the youngest. He is out caring for the sheep. Send and fetch him, said Samuel, all excited now. Surely, he thought this must be the boy God had in mind. Eagerly, he waited for him to come. Meanwhile, out of the rolling hills, young David lay on his back, looking up at the white, fleecy clouds chasing each other across a bright blue sky. As he hummed softly to himself, his father's sheep quietly nibbled the short grass all around him. their gentle bleating adding to the peacefulness of the scene. Suddenly, the stillness was broken by a distant shout. David! David! David jumped to his feet. Someone was calling his name. It was one of his father's trusted servants. I'm over here. What do you want? The servant came running up the hill, panting. What's the matter? Asked David. Your father wants you at once. Samuel is here. Samuel? Not the prophet Samuel? Yes, he is staying to dinner, and he wants to see you. To see me? Oh no! Why would he want to see me? But he does, and young father says you are to come at once. Just what David did with the sheep, we are not told. Perhaps the servant stayed to care for them. Anyhow, like the obedient boy he was, he ran home as fast as he could, wondering all the way what is the world was happening and why the great prophet Samuel of all people wanted to see him. There was no time to clean up. Jesse hurried him right into the presence of Samuel, scared at having to meet such a famous man. David blushed all over, but his kindly smile, his friendly bearing, and the goodness that shone out of his beautiful eyes won Samuel's heart at once. At the same instant, the prophet heard God says, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. Without a word, Samuel took his vessel oil and poured it on David's head. From that moment, everything was different. Though Samuel had said nothing about what God was planning for David, Jesse and his wife were sure that some great destiny lay ahead of their youngest son. The seven older boys must have had the same idea about their little brother. As for David, though he went back to caring for his father's sheep, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. From the day forward, God had found another boy. Someday, if he was good enough, wise enough, true enough, he would be the king of Israel.